Hello and welcome to Love Samantha Lee, the More Than Just Pretty podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Lee. And here we explore love, life, spirituality, and relationships through the lens of real beauty, the kind that begins the moment you decide to be unapologetically yourself. Join us as we dive into heartfelt discussions that challenge, inspire us, and connect us. Are you ready to embrace your true self? Let's begin. What's up, family? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl, Samantha Lee. And y'all, I'm back and I'm better. Oh man, I love that sprinter. I like track low key. Shakari Richardson, when she said, I'm not back, I'm better. I'm not back, I'm better, y'all. This year is going to be up. It's up, it's up, it's up. Okay. Hope that clapping wasn't too loud into your head, into your headphones or into your speakers or whatever the case may be. But I'm excited to get back. Thank you guys for giving me the chance to take a break. I needed a break. The end of last year was really challenging for me, losing Sparkle, and I had some health stuff going on. I had other things going. I mean, this was like a tornado of things that were happening all at the same time. But I have a refreshed spirit. I am excited about 2025. I know that God is going to do exceedingly abundantly above all that I could ever ask, think, or imagine. I know that it's going to be a year of love, of new opportunities, of doors opening. I just know it. I believe it. I see it. I smell it. I know it. Okay. So, it's funny because I have this refreshed spirit, y'all. I'm like, I don't know, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm excited, like, fall in love again. Like, I remember, y'all heard me all last year. Like, I've been kind of like, I don't know. I know that relationships can be challenging and things like that, but I'm ready to fall in love. I'm ready to like have that feeling again. That was always like I haven't. I don't. It's been a minute, obviously, since that has experienced that has happened for me. But just opening myself up to somebody again, falling in love, just I'm ready for that now. Like I really feel that's the energy I'm on. So unapologetically, that's where I'm at. But I'm excited for opportunities. I feel like doors are already opening for me, y'all. I just feel extremely blessed. Like people seeing things in me that I don't see, and so anyway, I'm just very, very grateful. But I want to start off this season of More Than Just Pretty by expressing two lessons that I learned in 2024. Two major lessons that I want for people here. Anybody listening to me, please pay attention to these lessons, y'all, because I did not realize this. Like I really didn't. I didn't know how much this was impacting me. And so please pay attention to this because you may see these patterns in your own life. So please pay attention to two of these things, okay? Because number one was like something that I literally was like, oh wow. Like when I thought back over my last year and years of my life, I saw how number one played a role. And so let's get into it. Number one, biggest lesson I've learned in 2024 was my thoughts. I allowed my anxiety to run rampant, family. And a couple years ago, people can feel any kind of way about, law of attraction or manifestation or things like that. But your thoughts biblically have power. And I found myself a lot of times entertaining and engaging in thinking more about what I was afraid of, what I didn't like, what I didn't want, more so than what I did want. Like I would spend my time visualizing circumstances and situations and ruminating on the what ifs more so than the possibilities of what could be. And I look back over my life and I see how just little things that I would put my energy into precipitated occurrences that happened in my life. Just things I would watch and engage in and listen to, and how those things played out and actually were manifested in my life. Whether I realized it or not, my thoughts, what I was engaging in, became a reality. Good, bad, or indifferent. And so in this last year, as I was looking over my life, I realized that me engaging in my anxiety, me engaging in my fears, be spending more time ruminating on those things versus the possibilities of what could be, made it so that a lot of my fears came true. Now, God was gracious even in that, because the worst of what I believed didn't happen. But a lot of the things that happened, if I look back, I spoke into existence. I thought into existence. I allowed my mind to marinate in spaces and places that brought certain circumstances into my life. And that's the truth. You know, I was also thinking about different people that I see on spaces, and I'm like, well, that person keeps talking about they're single, so that's why they stay single. That person keeps talking about this, so that, like, I notice how some people, when they're talking about relationships, they get into relationships. Some people start talking about marriage, they start getting into marriages. Some people that keep talking about being single stay single. Some people talk about getting jobs and going further, they're going further, they're getting jobs. Like, we're attracting what we're talking about. We're attracting what we're thinking. And I've spent a lot of time in my life, admittedly, thinking about things I don't want happening. Thinking about circumstances and outcomes that I don't want. Thinking about the what ifs, and if the what if does happen, why is it going to happen? Like, I'm notorious for that. Like, I'm going to think out the worst case scenario, and then I'm going to embattle within myself why that worst case scenario is going to happen. Like, well, if they do that, why would they do that? It's like, now I've spent more time ruminating on the worst possible case scenario, and I live there because I don't want to be disappointed. So I basically think up the worst case scenario and prepare myself for the worst, put more energy for the worst, than understanding that bad things happen, right? But putting more energy in what I want to happen versus putting more energy in what I don't want to happen. And so if you think over your life and you think about certain things that have happened, certain circumstances that you're in, you'll realize that a lot of your thoughts and what you've spoken have attracted circumstances that you're in. So in 2025, as we go into this year, I want you guys to be way more mindful of what your thoughts, what you're dwelling on. Because I think a lot of people, they have a wilderness mentality. You know, it's very sad. I know people there's people I love that I care about. They have a wilderness mentality, right? They're stuck in wilderness. They will choose wilderness because wilderness is comfortable. Wilderness is familiar. It's a risk to choose promised land. You have to give up things to go to promised land. You have to give up people, places, and things. If you are unwilling to do that, you have a wilderness mentality. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. I've gotten to a place, family, with God, that I'm like, even when I struggle with God, I'm like, God, I don't want to let this go. I don't want to let this go. I'll say, okay, God, literally within a couple of hours, I'm at a place where I'm willing to let it go. I just ask him for the strength to let it go. Like, God, okay, if you really want me to let it go, help me let it go. Because I've gotten to an understanding with God that anything that I'm holding on to that I know is not of him is inferior to what he wants for me. And so whenever we hold on to things that are not God's best for us, it is us choosing our own way. It is us choosing wilderness. And we can look at the Israelites and we can say, oh, I would never. No, if you are choosing a relationship, if you are choosing a job, if you are choosing a circumstance, if you are choosing a friendship, if you are choosing a habit that you know has nothing to do with what God has called you to be doing, to be engaging in, that you know that this ain't got nothing to do with promised land mentality. This ain't got nothing to do with kingdom. This has everything to do with flesh, carnal. This is all me. And you're choosing that because it's hard, quote unquote, because I'm scared, because I don't know, because it's and third. That is what the Israelites felt. That is why they were stuck in the wilderness for 40 years. Because once they went to the promised land, what did they say? Oh, yes, the promised land was great and everything, but they're so big over there. They're so much bigger than us. They're gonna hurt us. Oh my goodness. Like, what is gonna happen if we go over there, God? Like, I don't think that that's for us because that's scary. I don't know. Then God was like, okay, if that's y'all mentality, then y'all need to go ahead and stay in the wilderness. I showed y'all the promised land. Y'all see that it has everything that I said it would have, but your fears of how, what, why, it's too big. I'm scared. How we going to get out of this? What's going to happen if we do this? They're going to destroy us. They're going to do your fears are making you doubt me. And it's doubting me to the extent to where I'm like, oh, you don't even want to go. Oh, okay. Well, then you can stay in the wilderness. Your whole generation cannot live out here, can lose their lives out here. And then we'll just go with the next generation. And hopefully the next generation is a generation of faith that can enter into the promised land. And thankfully they were. Family, I am attacking wilderness mentality right now. All those anxieties that we ruminate on that keeps us in the same place we were in before. I am here on this podcast to get rid of that. Do not stay in that. We are a society that is run by fear. We are run by fear. We are run by anxiety. Everything is like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know. We're fear of missing out. We stay out of relationships, in relationships. We have all fear. Just fear runs us. That's how the enemy controls us. It's an effective tactic to keep us right where he wants us. So for anyone listening to me right now, number one, is taking account of what you're thinking about. What are you speaking over your life? Because some of you guys, if you look at how you think, if you look at how you talk, and it's not about how you talk, to people like, oh, it's going to work out. Oh, it's going to do this. Okay, what are you thinking? What are you ruminating on? What does your actions show? Because a lot of times we can say a whole lot, but your actions are telling me you have wilderness mentality. You can tell me anything. But when you stay in broken situations, I know that you have wilderness mentality. You don't believe what you say. You don't stand on business. I'm sorry, family. In order to start new chapters, in order to get into the promised land, what did they do? They had to conquer one land at a time. They took a risk. And that is uncomfortable. That is painful. You don't know what's going to happen. You just trust God. And so instead of dreaming up now, like the what if or the worst possible case scenario, in 2025, I'm spending my time visualizing my best case scenario. I'm getting excited about what I want to see. I'm putting my energy into that versus putting my energy into what I don't want to see. I spent a lot of 2024 putting a lot of energy into what I don't want to see. And I got a lot of what I didn't want to see. I'm going to spend more of my time in the other direction. Okay, so that was first lesson. Second lesson is this. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. Some of y'all know this already. But my puppy passed away. Sparkle passed away 3 weeks ago. Unexpectedly, she had seizures, one after the other. And even though I dropped her off at the vet after her first seizure, but no matter what the vet gave her, they could not stop the seizures. And so the seizures increased in strength. It came faster, harder, stronger. Eventually took her life. Sparkle was only 2 pounds, so she really didn't have a shot. Even if she did survive, she'd be a shell of herself, honestly. So in me losing her, there was times for me to reflect on the limited time I had with her. I had 11 weeks with her, and there were so many moments, y'all, that when she passed and I held her body in my hands to say goodbye, because I went to the vet office. She was still alive when I called them. And I went to the office to say goodbye to her. When I got to the office to, hold her, say my goodbyes, and basically figure out what the best case scenario was for her. And when I got there, she had passed away. So I held her body. And when I held her body, there were so many different things as I looked at her that I wish I could take back. So many moments where I lost my temper, where, I didn't have patience or grace for her being a puppy, and learning and potty training. And yes, it stretches you to have a puppy. It really does. There's a thing called puppy blues. I talked about that a couple weeks ago. But there's so many things I would take back if I only knew what I knew now. I didn't know how much time I had with her, and I would honestly say I took it for granted, thinking that, okay, she's a puppy, so obviously she's not gonna pass away. Obviously she's gonna be here for years. Obviously, we take time for granted. We think time is promised, and it's not. We think time belongs to us, and it doesn't. Lauren London said, and I thought this quote was amazing. She said, and I don't want to misquote it, so let me make sure I read it. She says, you better love those who God gave you, you better love those who God loaned you, because he's going to want them back one day. And y'all, she ain't never lied. You better love the people God loaned you, because he's going to want them back one day. There were so many moments with Sparkle that, y'all, I remember kicking myself for really that first week. I was angry with myself because I wish I could just take certain moments back. Really, I wasted moments being mad. I wasted moments being frustrated. I wasted moments. And I obviously didn't know that she would only be with me for 11 weeks, but I wasted moments. I'm going to say that to everybody listening to me. Time is of the essence. We can live like tomorrow is promised, but it's not. That's a delusion. That is a fairy tale. That is something that we want to believe. Time is not promised. It does not belong to us. It belongs to God. He determines whether we stay or whether we go. And a lot of us, we take it for granted. We live our lives and we do whatever we want and we take our time and we do this. And here's the thing. I think there's wisdom in taking our time in a lot of different facets. I'm not saying that that's wrong, right, or indifferent. What I am saying is we have to love people. Love people like it's going to be our last moments with them. We have to love people. That doesn't mean being taken advantage by them. That doesn't mean not having boundaries. That doesn't mean any of that. That means loving people. Loving people. To where you can walk away and say, you know what? I did the right thing. I love them well. So that if anything was to happen, you have peace with you about how your last interaction with that person was. And vice versa, people should be doing the same with you. If we treated people with that mentality, like each interaction could be our last interaction with them, and that we love them that way each and every single time, we wouldn't have half the problems we have. We wouldn't have half the divorces that we have. We wouldn't have half the ills and the evils that we see in society. But we take time for granted. We take lives for granted and living for granted. Time is of the essence. In 2025, live every moment like it's your last. That doesn't mean you go on, 1,000,002 trips. That's not what I mean. Because people think that that's living, and it's an aspect of living. I think living is loving. I've been on a lot of different trips and vacations and things of that nature. But what made those trips wasn't the trips in and of itself. It was the people that I was with on those trips, the love that was shared, the moments that you had. We have a society today that promotes an agenda that I think is very detrimental. It's a single agenda. And they promote it through our music. And it's to keep us single and broken and perpetuate a cycle and a narrative about Black and brown people. Just is what it is. It is what it is. And we buy into it. We do it. The problem with that mentality is that mentality puts us in a position to live a life that I believe is unfulfilling. Being promiscuous, single, not having real connections with people, broken homes, that doesn't sound fulfilling at all to me. That's just me. That's just me sitting here. And y'all, here's the thing. I'm coming to a lot of these realizations within this last year. And I'm seeing things a lot differently than I've ever seen them. And I think that we are, because we think, oh, we got time. I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow. No, you don't have to. You don't know if you have tomorrow. That's actually arrogant of you. In the New Testament, Paul says it's actually arrogant for you to think you got tomorrow. It says God, he says, say God willing. When you make a plan, say God willing, because you don't know what God's plans are. That's what it says in the New Testament. We don't know how much time we have. Stop taking time for granted. It's not promised. And it doesn't belong to you. Again, you guys, this is not for me to make you sad or emotional or anything like that. This is me as we start 2025. I want you guys to start off on the strongest foot that you possibly can. And these two things are what is resonating in my spirit, vibrating in my energy fields on a high level. That is what I am on right now. It is loving people well. It is making sure that my mind stays focused on more on what I want than what I don't want. That is where I'm at right now. And I want that for you. I want you guys to start visualizing what you want. I want you guys to start seeing the house, seeing the car, seeing the marriage, seeing these things. I want you guys to start seeing these things for yourself, not allowing anything, because the enemy is going to send things to distract us. The enemy is going to send things to keep us feeling discouraged, like, oh, this is never going to. No, stay focused on what you want. Okay, you can't deny reality. You see it. Get back focused on what you want. Yes, that's a fact, but that's not truth, right? Yeah, I can't deny that that's happening right now, but I'm going to try to stay focused on what I want. The Bible says to focus on things that are above, heavenly, good, pure, lovely. I can't think of all those things, but it's a list of positive things, good things, pure things, things not negative. What we do is we ruminate on negative. And I can tell when somebody, all they think about is negative, or it's hard for them to get out of negative because they have a negative persona. 2025 family, everybody's listening to me. We winning. And we focusing on winning. Yeah, we might take some losses, but we focused on winning. Period. Okay? All gas, no brakes. 2025, we up. Thank you for spending your time with us on Love Samantha Lee, the More Than Just Pretty podcast. It has been a privilege to share the space with you, where we celebrate being unapologetically ourselves. I hope today's episode has encouraged you to embrace your own unique beauty and the beauty in others. Don't forget to follow us and join our community on social media. Share your journey and your insights, and let's continue this conversation. Until next time, remember, real beauty starts with you being true to yourself. I love you, family, and I'm going to talk to you soon.